What's going on, everybody? Want to welcome you to Hot Topics. I am excited about tonight's show. Do us a favor, go ahead and like us, tag us, let us know that you are watching. I'm glad to have you with us tonight. We're looking forward to another great um, segment of Hot Topics tonight. Do us a favor, go ahead, like this, share this, let us know that you are watching. Of course, we want to hear from you, but we got to get you to like it. That'll help us get us going, let other people know. Tag someone, let somebody know that you are watching. Want to bring in my other partners in crime on tonight. We got almost the whole gang here again tonight. Um, We'll start. We'll start with the gentleman first. We always do ladies first. We'll start with gentlemen first.
Hey,
Mr. Behind in the court.
what's up, everybody? Glad to be on this rainy Wednesday in South Florida. It's been raining on.
Raining Wednesday, raining Tuesday, raining Monday. It's just
It's
been raining. I don't know what the heck is going
raining, man.
on.
Glad to be on tonight, though.
Uh, First Lady, Miss Lady Austin, how you doing tonight?
Hey, how y'all doing? Talking about the rain. Hopefully it's raining votes.
Hopefully the rain is not stopping the votes.
That's
Right,
what I mean. It's raining votes. Ain't no
right.
stopping them. They just gonna rain.
Let us know, guys. We're gonna talk about that. Well, since you talked about it, let's go ahead and just start with that subject on tonight. Let's just kick off with that. Early voting has begun in Florida, especially in Florida and in other parts of the state. We've seen the lines. We've seen people on Facebook. How do you guys feel about just the fact that people are just excited about voting, not about particular candidates, but just how you feel about, it just seems like a lot of people are trying to do early voting, unlike, usual. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it's
Well,
a good thing. To see how many people are excited about it. Candidates aside, I think the fact that people are excited about voting and the people are actually out there doing it and committed to staying in those lines and things like that, I think it's a great thing. It's your civic duty. It's your right. For so long in this country, a lot of people didn't have that right to vote. A lot of people fought for us to have this right to vote, especially women and African Americans. And so I think people being excited about it, is really good. It's really good.
Of course,
I
we're
think.
all. Go ahead, Kim. I was going to ask you a question, but go ahead, and then
Oh,
I ask you a question.
sorry. No, I was just gonna say. I think with everything going on in 2020 and all the happenings, people just happy to have something to be excited about.
Hmm.
With
Yeah.
everything that's going on, so.
We're all African Americans, and every voting cycle we hear about how African Americans, although we are 14% of the U.S. population, we often hear about the African American vote, how important it is, and then the lacking of the African American vote. Why do you feel, Kimberly, that blacks get so targeted when it comes to voting? Like when we find one person who didn't vote, we get worldly upset about that. Why do you think that is? Why do we put a major emphasis on that?
Hold on a second. Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, okay. No, I think it's because we get so drawn to so many things as people, especially as black people when it comes to like tennis shoes and rap music and things like that. And then when some of us that knows how important voting is and know what it is like and what people have struggled, how people have struggled to earn the right to vote, it just make you mad to see that people are not excited about something that has more valuable, more meaning to them than a pair of tennis shoes or a purse or something like that. It's oftentimes like I tell my 9-year old, he gets so caught up in these TV shows and these cartoons and stuff. And when it's time to work, I get frustrated because I'm like, act like it's that TV show. Take pride in it like that TV show. This work gonna get you further. Voting is gonna get them further, but they stuck into what they stuck into, and it's frustrating to know that you have to beg people to take pride in something that so many people fought for just to care about it.
Breanna, you agree with that? That we tend to, we take pride in so many things, and some people, black seem like they have to be persuaded to vote. Like, like come on, man, you got to like to beg them to do it.
Right. Yeah, and I think I think it's a lot of reasons. It differs from person to person, but I agree with what she's saying. Plus, we, especially certain generations, are very materialistic, so we tend to value things that we can like see or feel a return on. And there's that part. So the material things and stuff like that, some people tend to care more about than standing in line to vote. And I think also we're kind of so far removed from the days where we did not have the right that some people just need kind of a wake up and a history lesson. The fact that this has not always been a right of ours. So, I think just seeing people excited again is good. And I also think that the Black community gets kind of targeted, if you will, with, from candidates and stuff, because they understand that our voice is important. And I think we need to understand how important our voice is. If they wouldn't work so hard to try and suppress our vote if they didn't think it was important. So we have to understand that our voice does matter. Whenever we rally behind something and we want something done, most of the time we get it done. And I think we have to really be mindful of that, and shift our attention to things that matter.
It's interesting because you said something I think is interesting. The value of the vote. We don't understand how valuable our vote is to the point of, we only tend to do it every 4 years. I think we ended the show last week talking about how important it is to vote in all of the elections, especially the midterms, because, the midterm elections, usually when a lot of senators and Congress people and representatives are on the ballot, and that's usually the time where we sit out. And unfortunately, it affects who's the president. Whether, if it's somebody you voted for and they don't have the backing because you didn't vote for their support, then it becomes detrimental to society. And so I think that, as African Americans, I think it's all people, millennials especially, that we have to understand the value of the vote, and voting in every single voting election. I would love to see this level of excitement for every single election, not just every 4 years, and not, and I'll say this, let our voting not be just an anti-Trump vote. Let's vote because we understand the value of it. But Kim, a lot of people are really voting. It's an anti-Trump vote. And, talk about how little do they understand if we don't have this enthusiasm. Because we know there's sometimes that I've heard people say, I just voted for the president. I left everything else blank. I'm like, huh? Like, so all that stuff you just thought the whole thing was about one guy. And, so you left a lot on the table when you vote like that.
I think that's I'm not gonna say I'm 100% sure, but I think that probably used to be the case. But I think the tables on that are turning, or at least I hope the tables on that are turning, because with Trump coming in, he has shown us a lot. When Obama became president, he showed the African American community a lot, because we kind of learned a lot of stuff about what the president does, because some people didn't even know the president have all these balls and all this stuff. We was interested. We were engaged because that was like our president, the Black president. What Trump is, so we tend to pay attention to some things. And then Trump came along, and he's opposite of Obama, but he made us pay attention to some things with some of his rhetorics and how some of the things, the laws and the rules change. And then we begin to see, we never saw the Senate fight as much as they fight now, and the people fighting as much as they fight now. And we've actually, as a lot of us who probably didn't know, learned these people names because he stayed with these people on the news, and he's always talking and tweeting and calling out their names. And so we begin to realize, well, dang, if he fighting this much, this person must be important. This seat must be important. So he's, I hate to say it, kind of doing us a favor by making us so many of these things relevant, because people are beginning to pay attention and they begin to see that this is a real clown show. And if I don't want the country to carry on with this circus act, then I have to vote, because I have to have people in place. They begin to learn that these positions matter. And leading up to this, I got to vote better people in place that won't support this clown.
Good to see Stephon watch. I want to lead right into that because a lot of Stephon, Brandon. It doesn't take a lot for black people to get mad. Like we always tend to be mad about something. So the new madness is towards Ice Cube. Word has gotten out that Ice Cube presented his platinum plan to President Trump. Now, mind you, he did present it to President Biden as well. But Donald Trump, the wise man he is, he tweeted a week ago that, he wanted to thank Ice Cube for helping him with the platinum plan. And of course, Black Twitter and all black folks went crazy because they're saying, why is Ice Cube helping the president? Ice Cube position, he's been on CNN and, he's really stood out and said, hey, he presented his plan to both parties and he's really not in favor of any party. He said, and I quote, neither party has really done much for blacks. And some can maybe agree with that in a certain instance. But why do you think African Americans were so mad when they found out that Ice Cube presented this plan to President Trump?
I think, for one, it comes from misinformation, which is so popular these days, especially with the media. And I mean, you just can't really believe much of what you read because people would just write anything and websites and everything. So I think it comes from misinformation, for one. Because a lot of the headlines would have led you to believe that he was just in some kind of partnership. He just decided, I'm going to support Trump and I'm in some kind of partnership with him. Now, once you got down to what actually happened, then it was like, oh, okay, that's what it was. So it starts with misinformation. And two, it comes from that mindset that, well, if we don't like this guy, we can't work with him. And I think that's dangerous. That's dangerous because if you pull yourself out of the equation, now they're going to treat you and give you whatever they think is you want or whatever they want to give you. So whether you agree with someone or not, whether you agree with, whether you vote for them or not or whatever, you still need to have their ear. You still need to have some level of influence because you need to be able to say, look, this is what we want. This is what, it's not about party. It's not, no. If this guy's the president, okay, and if, he may or may not get reelected again, we don't know. But we need to have some kind of influence in that. You don't have to like him. You don't have to support him. But if he's willing to listen, then tell him what you think we need. And I think, especially once Ice Cube cleared it up and said, look, I sent it to both. Biden camp said, we'll talk about it after the election. Trump camp said, let us look at it. Okay, we like this, blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about it. What do you want him to do? He sent it to both. And supposedly the party that we, quote unquote, are supposed to be with said, let's wait till after the election. So, I don't blame. He did the right thing. He sent it to both sides. And the Trump administration decided they were going to look at it now and do whatever they want to do with it. So I think it's a good thing. I don't fault Ice Cube for doing that at all. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. And I don't think we really have a reason to be mad at him.
Now, Kim, of course, Trump does what he does. And many people say, well, he's only doing it to get the black vote. He's only placating. Where was Ice Cube 3 years ago? I've heard all, where was this 3 years ago? Why is he just coming out with it now? It seemed like some black rapper or something, they tied him into Kanye and they say, well, Trump is playing games. But should we try? I live by a famous statement. You either at the table or you on the menu. And one of the things that I said on another show that I do a while ago, and people argued me down on this. Yeah, that's the question. Who believed Trump would actually put this plan in action? And that's the thing. But people, I'm getting to the point where I'm old enough because of research. I wasn't born, but people forget President Dr. Martin Luther King. Someone asked me the difference between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and I said they both had great levels of significance. But Dr. Martin Luther King, the reason why he's noted so famously for things that he's done is because he sat with presidents. He sat with presidents, and so he was able to be at the table. And, were those presidents even in the 60s doing everything Dr. Martin Luther King did? No. But the question would be, where would we be if he hadn't sat at the table? Where would the civil rights movement be if Dr. Martin Luther King didn't have the sense to at least let his voice be heard? So, Kimberly, my question is it still important whether we believe Trump is going to listen or not? And forget about Trump. Any president. Is it important to make sure that our voices are heard, even if we feel like they're not going to react and respond the way we want them to respond?
Well, actually, definitely our voices are definitely important. That's the purpose of pushing everybody to vote and encouraging everybody to vote, but no matter who your candidate for. I don't even blame Trump. Again, if you've been paying attention over the past 4 years, like you said, Trump's rhetoric. And like we said, who believed Trump is going to put this into place? I think the thing about the Democrats, I don't even have a problem with them not accepting his plan and saying wait until we win the election, because it's true. They're not the sitting party right now. So they're trying to win over folks and win over things. Why would they go? Maybe Ice Cube came to the table and say, I'm giving this to y'all, I'm giving this to Trump. What would they look like coming out with Trump on some of the same stuff? Let's be real. How would that have looked if they would have said, no, Ice Cube gave it to us? No, Trump said, we don't even know really what the plan is and what part of the plan the Democrats was going to take and what part the Republican. And Trump, we still don't know. Like Stephon said, who believe he's going to carry out a plan? So I think we just have to get away from we just have to do more research and get away. I think we like being divided. I honestly think we like just the foolery and like being divided. And Trump coming along, it really just exposed a lot of some of our behaviors as African Americans. We like the drama. I think a certain generation.
Ice Cube had to present the fact that this is not his plan. Like right. What Cube said was he took portions of the plan and made it his own. So a lot of people, as Stephon pointed out, he had to separate himself because the platinum plan is not Ice Cube's plan. Let's just set the record straight.
Ice Cube said that. Ice Cube said his plan wasn't about particularly black. And again, that goes back to we allow Trump to put us in situations where he already know we like the drama, so he put a match on our drama, and what we do, we go crazy. We let him throw lighter fluid on us just to see us explode, and then we back at looking divisive and looking crazy, and some of us just embrace that. I'm at the point where Trump can't tell me nothing, like literally nothing. He cannot tell me it's gonna rain outside all day and I walk outside and see it's gonna rain all day. That's just where I'm at with him. It's nothing he can tell me, and that's the point that we as black people have to get to, where we go do our own homework, go do our own research and things like that, and we will begin to know where we stand and what's really what, instead of just letting him feed us all this so-called fake news. This is the man who coined the term fake news, but every time you turn around, he constantly putting out fake news.
The thing I'm doing a Bible study about this the next 2 weeks. But you know what? The thing about Brandon I don't get about Trump is that he's the reverse Obama. Like Obama gets attacked for not doing a lot of things for blacks, which he did a lot of things for blacks. He just didn't tweet about them. It just wasn't the shiny objects. And Trump, what I don't understand about his rhetoric is he doesn't highlight some of the few good things that he does. That's the thing that I don't understand about him. As Kim said, at this point, I think his main goal is to be divisive.
Yeah.
Because he never talks about really the good things, like some opportunities. There's a couple of things that he has done that's actually pretty decent, but he never talks about it. He always
cannot
falls
talk about
on the
it.
sides of the divisive. That's the
But
part
he
I don't
can't.
understand about him.
He cannot talk about it because he can't acknowledge to America that he caters to a certain party. So he has to straddle the fence so much, like if they get it, they get it. But I can't let them over there who's keeping America divided. Y'all know them kind of groups I'm talking about. He can't only go so far to the line. He can't go cross the line and boldly. We saw that at the debate. They asked him, cross this line, do this, do that. He can't do it. It used to be the NRA. Now we become so divided. There's so many other organizations that he needs their backing. So to say, I did this for y'all and to show that I did, he cannot do that. He just can't. He's incapable of doing that.
It goes against his platform. And I think, one of the things we have to be careful about is that, I mean, it's hard for us to trust that Trump will actually put the plan into action. But honestly, it's hard for me to trust that Biden going to do it. Because people say all kind of dreams in the election year. I don't trust the Democrats either. To be quite honest, that's why I'm not part of either party. You know what I'm saying? Because you dreams. They have been Democrats before that have told us some dreams, and 4 years later we still ain't seen it, right? So,
but the thing is,
we can't automatically jump to, well, we know he's not gonna do it, but they gonna do it. No, we're not quite sure they're gonna do it either. So we got to be careful about. We got to do our research and really know. And really, it's about holding these candidates accountable. That's what it has to come down to. And who wants to actually listen to us. So,
but the thing is, we have to remember that the president of the country, even as leadership in position, pastor, you in a position sometimes where you want to do something. And a lot of times your hands are tied. You have to be the pastor of the people. You cannot be the president of the black people. So it's like, what's your black agenda? And we think we looking for this person to come and save us. Like you said, not intentionally or unintentionally, but Obama Trump did do a few little things for black. Obama did do, but we didn't want to acknowledge it because we came in thinking we got us a black president. He gonna be the president for the black people. And we got to stop. We as the people have to stop looking for what you gonna do for me, the black man, the black person, the black agenda. That black agenda thing gets us in trouble so many times because we have to understand these people have to be the president of the people. And sometimes when you're trying to be over so many people, you are not gonna always have the popular vote or always make the popular decision, but you got to know as a leader, this is a decision that has to be made for such a time as this, and we need to understand that.
And the thing about black, we talked about it a few minutes ago, 14% of the population, things when you're that small of a minority, what ends up happening is at the top it has to be the opportunity. The opportunity opens up at the top. And then as we get closer to it becoming local, those are really the people that control the opportunity. And I think that's what we forget about. Like, it's not going to be, something there's very few laws that's going to say this is for black folk. It's just not going to be worded in that fashion. It could be geared towards that. There's not laws that necessarily say white folks, but we understand because of the nature of this country, we know that things automatically cater to them. And so what we have to begin to understand is we have to look and understand the opportunities which become available for us and capitalize on those opportunities so that we can continue to have a seat at the table. But we can never deny or ridicule a person for having a seat at the table. We gotta have a seat at the table. If anything is going to make a difference, you gotta have a seat at the table. We can't just think people are gonna automatically do it. As you said, Brandon, hey, let's not forget, until maybe 3 months ago, I don't believe that Biden was gonna have a black female on his ticket. I don't believe that. All signs show that he was going for the young lady, I believe, from Minnesota. That was going to be his pick. There was a heavy push to get a black female. Why? Because some rumblings kind of started saying, hey, if he don't pick it, we had a show about it. If he don't pick a black female, a lot of black people was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So we can see, as you said, it's not automatic that people are going to just do stuff in the Democratic Party for black folks, but we do have the power of influence to say, hey, listen, let's exercise our influence. But here's what I'm going to say in reverse to that. I think if we put that pressure on the other side as well, maybe this country could get closer to the middle. That's what I would like to see this country get closer to the middle, because by default, blacks and the majority go to the Democratic Party. So therefore, the Republican Party, doesn't feel like they need to do anything because they're not going to get their vote anyway. And the Democratic Party has gotten to the point where we really don't have to overly do anything for them, because guess what? We have their vote anyway. So what black people have to do strategically, I believe, as you said, we got to make both of these parties get closer to the middle.
Exactly, and that's why, and that's why we can't just jump to, we all know for whatever reason, and it has been for a while, the black party is the Democratic Party. You cannot make it that automatic for the reason you just said. They know they're gonna get our vote anyway, so they don't have to go all out. And just repeating what you said, the Republican Party, they know they're probably not gonna get it, so they don't do anything. But we're not gonna get it anyway. So we got to start putting more pressure on both of these parties and say, listen, our vote is not automatic to you, Democratic Party. Okay, it's not. It's not automatic to you. We got to hold these parties accountable, hold these candidates accountable, so that maybe we can actually start getting something at that point.
I think that we target the Democrat Party, just my opinion, more because for the most part, the Democrat, at least when they're trying to get elected, they come into the arena and kind of relate more to us. The Republicans don't even attempt to relate because we don't make them feel like they have a desire to relate. And the thing about it, we gotta, like he said, we have to think of it on a smaller scale and stay woke, because the changes we want is not going to come from the White House. It's going to come from the small areas. So if you in a black area, you need to stay woke. Pay attention to the politicians in your area and push them and force them to do the things that's needed for your area, and then grow into, and then that'll grow, because most of the politicians in the lower areas, they looking to go up in their political careers. You know what I mean? So if they get you to back them before they go to the next level, and that's gonna help them go to the next level. But we gotta stay woke and put some pressure and some heat on them to let them know our vote matters, even in our little local local commission and things like that.
Put the pressure on the people. Go ahead, Brandon.
Thing is that when it comes to these party lines and things, specifically with the black community, it ends up being economic.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So usually, if you are very well off, usually the platform and the plan of the Republican Party is going to benefit you if you're well off, right? On the flip side of that, if you're not so well off, the stuff that the Democrats are talking about usually is going to benefit you. So that's what people vote for, what's going to benefit them personally. That's as plain and simple as that. People vote for what's going to benefit them personally, whether they're say it or not. Okay.
And that's going to lead us into our next segment about that next celebrity you talking about. You're going to talk about.
Right. That's where the disconnect comes from. Most of a good majority of the black people that usually vote Republican, they're usually a little bit well off. They're much well off. And there's a flip side to that. But I think if we really want some kind of progress and we really want to start, our voice really being heard, we gotta be a little more strategic about it.
I was gonna say
And
well
it's
off
not
and
even,
toothless, but that wouldn't be Christian, so I won't say it.
but it's not even about being strategic. It's being strategic and making the people that hold a seat fit your need. Because
Right.
most of the time, the Republicans that's coming to our area, they really don't care about what we. So that forces you to say, "Well, I gotta be with this Democrat." You got to make them see the need to want to respect you as whether I don't want to say a low income, a low class person or whatever, but just as a Democrat, you have to get those kind of people in office and let them see the need to want your vote.
To answer
And
your question, Stefan, no, I didn't see the new. I agree with Stefan said vote your interest, Democratic or Republican. Agree with you 100%, my brother. I have not seen the P Diddy party. Maybe we'll do some research and talk more about it.
I haven't seen that either, but to his point, I don't really vote down party lines at all. I vote across. You can't do that. You cannot do that. You really got to do your research and know who you're voting for. I mean, I don't think last few elections there hasn't been a time where I have not voted on each side for different things, local, whatever.
What we have to do is put the pressure on the people that's going to be there longer than the president. As Kimberly said, we got to put the pressure on these state representatives. We have to put the pressure on these congressmen and senators who are going to be there 20, 30 years. And we don't apply the pressure because there are a lot of, I'm going to say it. There are a lot of people in our neck of the woods that have been in D.C. a long time, and you don't hear that name come up. They not on any bills. They're not on any committees. You just like, dude, are you working in Washington? I never see your name on nothing. And they've been there for 20, 30 years. I won't call any names, but I could.
Well, for the record, when Brandon say vote and do your research, it does not mean pay attention to the commercials that's been running the last month or so. It does not mean let grandma tell you this the ticket you need to vote for. It means, like what you said, go back, look at some past history stuff that affected your community, that affected some decisions made in your community, and see how that person voted. And that way you will know if you holding that person accountable, whether it be Republican or whether it be Democrat. And like unfortunately, a lot of times that's how people straddle the fence, mostly Republican or mostly Democrat, because that's the way Washington is kind of been. You see that now. The Republicans, they ain't care who Trump put in there. We going with this person. And the Democrat, that's just how the party lines have been set, because those are the people that we've been putting in office that come in like that. And we have to begin to change the norm by doing our research and putting people in place that we know are making laws that affect us.
Right.
Speaking of what, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
I mean, I absolutely hate the party system. I hate it. I think it should
I do. I hate that along with the delegates. I hate,
I don't like the party system. It shouldn't matter. It just shouldn't matter. But I want people to understand, Democrat shouldn't mean automatically yes, and Republican shouldn't mean automatically no for us. I'll leave it at that. Right.
And that works for both sides, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Mm-hmm. I think both sides. I think, we talked about this before and we'll move. We talked about it in our local Broward County Sheriff's Office. We talked about the last voted was Scott Israel, who everybody loved.
Right.
But everybody hated when he ran as a Republican.
Right.
So you mean to tell me most of the people wouldn't have even gotten to know or love this guy if he hadn't switched parties? I mean, you see what I'm saying? So really, they're not in love with a Democrat. They really fell in love with a Republican, if you want to tell the truth. He only became Democrat because he knew that he didn't have a chance in hell to win as a Republican. So,
and that's what I say: do your homework and follow the pattern, not just when they come on the scene. That's exactly what I'm saying. Know where these people coming from. If that's the case, Trump wouldn't have been let in where he let in. He tried to be everything in the book, and he didn't get nowhere. He got rejected from the Democratic Party because we knew then he was a bum. So he had to cross over to be able to make it. And again, the Republicans stick together.
Maybe it
What
would
you
have worked
say?
out. Maybe it would have worked out better if they kept him on the Democratic side.
He wouldn't have
No,
never made it. He wouldn't have
he
never
wouldn't have.
made it.
No,
He wouldn't have
no.
never made it. You know, he wouldn't
He
have
Mm-mm.
would
never made it because he couldn't have blew those dog whistles as a
Right.
Democrat.
He
That's
couldn't
what got him
straddle the fence
elected.
like he
It,
do
it
now.
wasn't it
Yes.
wasn't his politics that got him elected. It was the dog whistle voters that got
Right.
him elected. Truth be told, and that's
right.
who's working harder. The people who listening to the dog whistles are working harder, really, than the Republican Party. You don't even see
To,
a lot of them endorsing them. You don't see a lot of them really going out of their way to support him. It's like if he win, he win. But you
if
know,
he
some of
don't,
these other
right.
folk, they're going hard because
Mitt
he's
Let's
Romney already
listening
said
to those dog whistles.
let's be clear. It's Obama who got him in. Let's be clear. We could sleep on it if we want to. Obama got him in. They did
well,
not
the
want
hate never out.
another situation, right? Another situation like Obama. That party did not want to take the chance of we gonna let somebody in that's gonna keep some stuff like Obama. So they got him. Once they realized he was gonna be a Republican. That's when them dog whistlers came on in, cause it's like we gotta get him in, cause they hated Obama just that much that they wanted to erase him by any means necessary. They didn't care at what expense that they was putting the country at. It was any means necessary. So he
Well,
really owed Obama a Hallmark card.
well, as Brandon said, you know, there's some people that vote for people because of money. You know, so 50 Cent, you know, our beloved 50 Cent, Mr. Power Man, and you know, he came out and said, hey, he gotta support Trump, you know, because, and I quote, he don't want to be 20 Cent under Biden. And so, you know, he said that he wants to support Trump, not because he thinks he's a great person, but as you said, Brandon, because of his pockets. And you know, that has put a divide. So it's like we got Ice Cube and we got, you know, 50 Cent. You know, black folks are divided. You know, are both for Trump? Are both, you know, we don't know, man. And it's just crazy out here in black
I,
Twitter
I
these
I
days.
don't get I really don't understand the we don't know part. Okay? Because if we look at these two guys' history, 50 Cent has never been on the side of much positive. I don't care. He could be the best rapper. He ain't never been on the side of nothing positive. He just as much as a womanizer and all the other stuff is Trump. So I'm not even shocked. That's what his mouth say. But in my opinion, his pattern seemed like he got a lot of Trump in him anyway. He could blame it on the money part or whatever, but he got a lot of Trump in him already. And then for those of us that's talking about old 50 Cent, you could like a person and disagree with them. You go talking about this $400,000. Well, it ain't a lot of, it's unfortunate. Black people who vote for Biden anyway gonna be talking about, well, that don't affect a lot of people right there, that $400,000. And you got a lot of celebrities that still make over $400,000. That's what I mean by the two of them. 50 Cent, he don't do nothing for nobody. Somebody tell me what 50 done. Okay, like you got Tyler Perry, you see him joining with campaign. He been doing these things. This is their history. This is stuff that they been doing. He's already rich, and he's telling y'all, I'm rich. I want to stay rich. But the problem is, you mess around and you go with Trump, you ain't gonna stay rich. Cause guess who buying that stuff and who watching that stuff? Them people under $400,000 is keeping 50 Cent rich. Okay, them people down there the ones keeping 50 rich. So I just, me personally, it's not really a divide. It's really not a divide.
Hey, when Power's on Stars and Stars said, well, we got to, you know, make you pay extra money to see those subscriptions. Black people lined up to pay Stars so because they wanted to see Power. So
But
you
they
know,
ain't gonna, but they ain't gonna be able to do that once they keep Trump in office much longer. Exactly. So he ain't gonna be that 50 Cent gonna be 2 Cent. He keep fooling around with Trump talking about that little money he trying to help him save. He need that black money. You can say what you want to say.
And the
so
thing
you
is,
know, Stephon Brandon says it's a rich person problem. What you say?
Right.
yeah, it absolutely is. And like I said earlier, people vote their interests. People vote
Right.
what affects them. Okay, so
Right.
do I blame him for not wanting more tax? I don't blame him. Don't mean he shouldn't get more tax. I think on you got to look a little bit deeper into what the plan actually is. When you look at it, 60% on 400,000, it's not actually that they're taking 60% from the 400,000. It's not that. It seems like that. Do your research. It's not that.
Right.
So 50 may not be as well informed either.
Right.
We see these celebrities.
Curtis may not be as well informed. You're right, Curtis.
I've seen firsthand. Just because somebody got a platform don't mean they are well informed. Because I've seen some famous people say some stuff that was way off base. So don't think that they know what they're talking about because they're famous.
Absolutely.
So the plan isn't what it may actually seem, but it is a rich problem. You know what I'm saying? And people are just gonna vote because really, how does having Trump in office, make life worse for 50? It doesn't. Okay.
And it don't make it no better.
Right. For him. And if he feels like it's gonna do better for his money, then that's what he's gonna vote. You know what? It's a rich people problem, and there is that divide. There's that divide, not just between, the divide isn't always between black and white. Sometimes it's a lot more times between rich and poor.
Right.
So,
but the uneducated poor, the uneducated rich, because a lot of the multi-billionaires are really they tend to be they swing Democratic a lot because they, like you said, that 60% is not the 60% of 400,000.
Right.
And most of the Warren Buffetts and the Bloombergs, they understand this. Like, he just taxing some of these billions that it's not the entire 400,000 that he's attacking. And a lot of these rich people know it. They know they're getting away with murder financially. And they understand that if they gave away a few more $1 million, it's not going to hurt their bottom line. And go ahead, Kim.
And if 50 Cent really want to support Trump, he need to be voting for Biden. Because Trump said it on his own debate. Biden and Obama helped keep him rich. Trump told y'all that. So that lets you know, Biden might know a little more than what you think. So we are giving 50, like somebody said, way too much credit. Trump said it himself. You and Obama kept me. You and Obama made me able to do that. So that lets you know Biden might actually have a plan that may not be fully for us, but may not be fully for them. It may be more of a neutral plan. But again, we have to kind of educate ourselves on that. And then again, 50 Cent, he might not be worried about the stuff y'all worried about. A lot of us worry about systemic racism and other stuff that comes with Trump, where the money don't even affect us. So you'll be a fool to side with somebody that's talking about money, and you sitting down here with all these other struggles. Because a lot of people got problems bigger than money.
It's time to hit the share button again. That first share is stale, so hit it again. But it's interesting that you said that, because when it comes to this finance, you got to decide what's more important. As you said, Brandon, a lot of people are selfish in their voting, and so they're only looking at self. They're only looking at things that affect them. But it has to be bigger than yourself. No matter, whatever side you're leaning on, it has to be bigger than oneself. That's the only way this country is going to get back to where it needs to be. I'm not going to say great again, where it needs to be. It's not where it needs to be, because everybody is selfish, whether it relates to their economics, whether it relates to their skin color. A lot of people not going to support anything that deals with police and what they're doing. You know why? Because it doesn't affect them. But until it affects them, then they will take interest in that. And that is where we have to get in society if we're going to make a difference. But the thing about this is, what makes it interesting is to go a little deeper into the 50 Cent Ice Cube debate, is that Trump Jr. has really capitalized on this. So he's pulling a father moment, and he puts out this tweet. Two great black men supporting my father. He puts this image out there. Now, it does not take a wizard to realize that tweet is Photoshop. But, Brandon, as you said earlier, the Trump family specializes in division. And you know what? Black people keep eating it up. They keep throwing it out there, and we keep eating it up.
Yeah, you're right. They do specialize in it. It seems like that was their primary goal is to divide us. So they're doing a good job at that. Not that we need any help, but they have definitely put some gasoline on the flame when it comes to that.
Yeah, it bothers me how this family has really majored in just blatant lies. These are not political lies. These are not, twisting on the fact. They just blate out lie. They just tweet stuff that's just flat out not true. And I don't think there are not many presidents that have been in the social media, but not many presidents will blatantly go out of their way
And lie.
to lie. Photoshop a lie. I mean, you're going to twist the facts here and there. Somebody asks you a question. You're going to hold somebody don't know all the research. You're going to say it's 40% when it may be 50%. You're going to do that as a politician. But these guys manufacture the lie. That's what's dangerous about this family.
I mean, I really don't understand what's the surprise, because prior to him being president, he was a liar. He was a known liar. He lied about Obama. He's obsessed with lies about Hillary. He's obsessed with lies. He's obsessed with all of his previous opponents and just telling lies. And he's been the president for 4 years and he's still obsessed over them and continue to lie over them. He's never taken on the role and the leadership role to say, well, I'm president. Let me rise up. Let me be bigger than that. He prides himself on what lie I'm going to think of next. He lies on Fauci. The guy has no real I don't want to say intellect, but no real experience and how to be relatable to people in their professional world, in the professional world, and their experience enough to respect it, to know that I'm the president. I don't have to be intimidated by educated people in their profession. So he acts as a kid and he just lie and carry on. And obviously that's how he raised his children to be, because they falling in right behind him. So he started off his presidential career as a lie when he started talking about the birth certificate. And I go on and on about other lies that he told. And then when he caught in a lie, he tell y'all, I was joking. So he did that on the debate forum. He doesn't even care to be presidential or to act mature. He's not forced to. And that's my problem with the people that vote for him. We have all these expectations of Biden, but we don't care if Trump even attempts to have a certain expectation. I mean, meet a certain expectation. We let him continue to be a clown.
Well, we've been talking about voting. I want you guys to see something, because we have to, we talked about early voting. We have to guard our votes. We have to understand that everybody doesn't want your vote to be counted. Something interesting happened in California 2 days ago that I want you guys to check out.
Developing right now in Baldwin Park, arson investigators are looking into a fire that started inside of a ballot drop box. Several completed ballots were destroyed when somebody appeared to have tossed a burning newspaper inside that collection box. It all happened at the corner of Baldwin Park and Ramona Boulevards near Morgan Park at around 8 o'clock last night. It's still unclear how many ballots were lost or whether any of them could be saved, but there's also no word on any possible suspect.
So now we're burning down, we're burning crosses, now we're burning ballot boxes. I don't know, last couple of weeks it's been a rough go in America. We talked about, governors being kidnapped, and now, people are just burning boxes, burning ballots. I asked this question last week, Breanna. I asked it again. Is this America? Are we living in America?
Yeah, it appears as though it is. This is America, I guess, and it's. Sometimes you have to pinch yourself and be like, "Wow, okay, it's what we're dealing with." But it's interesting because it's always hard to know, one, how real something is when you see it on the news and stuff like that, and two, like, where it came from and where did it originate, and when it comes to politics, which side was responsible for You know, obviously Trump has been very critical of mail-in ballots and stuff like that. So it wouldn't shock me to suggest, you know, or to think that, you know, someone that's following him wanted to maybe further his agenda and say, you know, let's burn a box. Look, I told you it was not a good idea. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at where it happened, that also will kind of lead you to believe that it may have come from the conservative side of things, because California is very liberal, mostly Democratic. So I just don't understand why people just can't behave. And I ask myself that question. I ask myself that question every day, obviously, because the line of work I do, I typically see the worst of people, and I ask myself that you know, that question a couple times a week. You know, I just behave. Like don't do that. Like don't do that. Right?
That's your
And
"Can we all just get along" slogan. Why
yeah,
can't we just behave?
like why can't we behave? You know what I'm saying? And I ask myself that a couple times a week, and it's just like, why can't we just have an election without all this drama? Like, why does it have to be attic? Why does it have to be stuff being burned down and this going on at the polls? And like what is going? Like, really? We are
you
not.
Want me to answer that?
We're not capable of just being. One thing that I've realized is that decency used to be the floor, right? And now it's like an unattainable ceiling. Like you just can't be just being decent now. Just being decent. Oh, he's decent, you know? That used to be the floor. Like you were at least decent. You could at least govern yourself in a decent manner. Now it's like we can't even reach decency.
Yeah. We got America. Yeah. You make a good point. Like we had gotten America to the point to where we were decent. Like,
right.
you know, the races were kind of in the closet. You know, they would try to hide themselves. They were decent. You just be decent. You know, far from where you got spit on, but just decent. Just
Can I
decent.
answer that? Can I answer that?
Now we going backwards, man.
The problem is
45,
when
he's the head of not decent clubs. So.
When we had Obama as president, we held Obama to an expectation. The black community held him to an expectation. Hell, even the Republicans held him. They held it, much as they hated him, they held him to an expectation due to the fact that they hated him. They was going to make sure he maintained a certain box. We mess around and we got this man who came in letting y'all know I don't plan on meeting no expectation. By voting him as president, we made it seem like it was acceptable because his behavior did not start before he became president. His behavior started while he was running. He told y'all some of the stuff, and before he was running some of the stuff. So for him to come in to be the president and not holding him to the same, you said it a bunch of times before, Pastor. Everything you say is no other president, no other president, no other president. He started from the way he came into the White House showing y'all, I'm not going to be the normal president. And we as America, I'm going to say we, even if it's the Republicans or whoever, we as America, because they didn't fight it, and the Democrats to me didn't do enough to fight it, we accepted it and we made it seem acceptable behavior. And then you say, why can't we just behave, Brandon? Because it's about what we show we accept. Again, I'm constantly saying it. The guy is a kid. And why don't kids behave? Because they mamas accept that they could walk around and do this and do that, and they promote it like it's cute. So the more a parent promote it like it's cute, the worse that kid's behavior get in that unacceptable area. Because we never stopped it. And we're looking to vote him back in for 4 more years. He shouldn't even be considered to be a part. It should be a blowout if we tired of that behavior. And I don't think America is tired of that behavior yet. Some of us are, most of us are, but is it enough? Because he's made his behavior so acceptable that he got his goons out there that's showing that we're going to endorse this the behavior because this is the behavior we want America to have.
Well, speaking of help, there's something else that happened in California, but it's something happening in Florida. It's happening in our own backyard that I want you guys to check out. This is even more disturbing about what's going on in the elections.
Andrew, from a face-covering face-off, accusations of inbox intimidation. Simmons Breanna Byer live in Fort Lauderdale with a look at threatening emails targeting some voters, Brandon.
And Jeff, those voters say they got these emails and were intimidated, and they found those intimidating emails right in their inbox.
At 3:14 p.m., I received an email that included my first and last name and an old address. And it said, "We are in possession of all your information."
His name is Mark, and he does not want to show his face or reveal his full identity. His reason? Listen to the rest of the email.
It makes a threat: "You will vote for Trump on election day, or we will come after you. I would take this seriously if I were you." And then it includes an old address of mine and says, "Good luck."
The sender is listed as the far-right extremist group Proud Boys, with the address info@officialproudboys.com. And Mark's not the only recipient. Dozens of voters across Florida have received the exact same message. But a South Florida leader of the group tells 7 News he condemns the emails and that he's reached out to the Alachua County Supervisor of Elections office in Gainesville, where many of the emails seem to have been sent. The sheriff's office website says the emails appear to be a scam. The investigators there are working with federal agents. One media outlet says the emails may have originated overseas. And official ProudBoys.com doesn't even appear to be a real website. Still, Mark worries the email will scare some voters away.
I thought it was pretty concerning that they are sending these emails out. I would definitely be really intimidated by this. Like, if, I hadn't voted yet, especially, and if this was a current address that they were sending me. I think that they're trying to manipulate the election, and I think
that. So, we got a problem either from Proud Boys or from Russia, but again, all these things tend to support one candidate. All these things that happen, it always it's just leaning to one side. We all are familiar with Proud Boys. And so whether it's burning boxes or sending intimidating emails, everybody's denying it, but it's coming from somewhere. And Brandon, I've heard you say this before. It always just leans to one person, leans one way.
Yeah, it's like a table with a bad leg. Just leaning in one direction.
Just gonna slide all towards
it makes you wonder. I mean, and we've seen how radical there's radicals on both sides, but we've seen, the lengths that some 45ers will go to intimidate or do whatever. We've seen that at some of these protests and things and counter protests and things like that. We've seen how radical they could be as it relates to what they believe and who they're supporting. So it don't really shock you. People just need to know that, listen, vote for who you gonna vote for. Don't pay attention to these emails. These people are not gonna know who you voted for. Okay, let's get that clear. They're not gonna know. Not gonna know who you voted for. There's no way of them knowing. Okay,
right.
So don't be intimidated and buy an email because it's most likely a scam. Don't impede.
Yeah, I never understood voting intimidation anyway, because like you said, hey, if you intimidate, you got it, man. You got my vote, and keep it moving. I never understood that tactic because it's not like it's electronic to where they can go and check. They don't know who you voted for.
Right.
And it just go ahead, Kim.
I forgot what I was. Again, it goes back to the leadership. When Obama was president, you had a lot of stuff happening, both on the black side, both on the white side, on the other side rather. When stuff happened, like the rioting and stuff was happening, Obama came out and he spoke. He let black people know this is not acceptable. We not tearing up no streets. We not doing this. We not doing that. When the police officers were shooting kids, when Trayvon Martin happened and other stuff happened, he stood and let them know this not acceptable. This who we are. But on the other side, this man ain't saying nothing. It's good people on both sides. That's the best thing he's had to say yet about anything, whether it be the Proud Boys. But when it comes to the people writing, oh, they're this, oh, they're that, oh, they're this, oh, they're that. Well, first of all, they're not out there writing because they got nothing else to do. Something happened to cause that writing. So you could talk about that writing, but talk about the issue that led up to the writing. He's yet to release statements about the guy who came miles away and shot at the people in the little young boy 17. He never says nothing. When it's time for him to talk and say, I'm not, huh? What you say?
Cal Ritterhouse is his
Yeah,
name.
him. He's yet to say anything about that guy, and it's some others. He's yet to even acknowledge it. And again, that goes back to these people thinking it's okay because we don't have a leader that take a stand. Because if you know it's acceptable, you're gonna keep on doing it. And that's just what's happening. These people are taking they pretty much in his pocket, no doubt.
Brandon, unfortunately, we've had some law enforcement officers who have been going viral for all the wrong reasons. Here in Dade County, we had a police officer to go and vote in full uniform with a Trump mask on. We've had other officers, in full uniform display their support for Trump. All sources have said that this policy is not allowed in full uniform, that as a citizen, you have a right to express who you want to vote for, but you can't do it in full uniform. Why do you think that this is happening? And again, I say it's happening seemingly on one side. You've seen this going on. What do you think is the goal behind this? How do you
I
feel
think
about it?
one of the reasons it's happening is because you can't fix stupid. I think that's first and foremost.
Say it again.
You can't fix.
I didn't
stupid.
hear you.
You can't fix stupid.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, because I didn't hear you.
Yeah, you can't fix it. My mic might have been out. It was a little low. You can't fix it, right? And when I saw this, I was just like, I just had to stare at it for a minute because I'm just like, really? You really put that on your face and thought it was going to be a good idea? Like, we're in 2020. Okay, you didn't think somebody was going to take a picture. You thought that was a good idea, right? You really did. It makes me question your judgment about everything. Okay, you thought that would be a good idea. That was probably the worst. That was definitely the worst decision he had made that day for sure.
Who gonna stop him though? That man said, who gonna stop him?
Well, he's about to find out probably.
Well, I'm just saying, a lot of these people risk their careers and things to show they support. You got analysts that be on TV saying, how many analysts over the past where you saw lost their job because they just say stupid stuff, support like nobody.
It's not a good idea. You got to know going in it's not a good idea.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It's we have that policy. I'm sure almost every agency has a policy that you cannot do that in uniform. And if you didn't read the policy, that's your fault. All right.
Full uniform. He didn't try to hide. He was full uniform.
And it was really dumb. Okay, for one. And I think it would be dumb if it was a Biden mask. That's just as stupid. Okay. It really is, because you cannot do that. All right. You're supposed to be impartial. All right. When you're out of uniform, you could do whatever, you could wear what you want to wear. But when you're in that uniform, it's not supposed to be about political things. Now, was he trying to intimidate? I don't know. It's hard for me to say that was his intention. I don't know that. But he was clearly supporting his candidate. And, and obviously if you're in a uniform, you got a badge, you got a gun, it's already intimidating,
right.
To many people. So it could be perceived as that. So perception, in a lot of cases, usually ends up being reality.
And that's all he wanted was the perception, clearly.
And I listen, if he loses his job, he probably won't lose his job, but he'll probably get suspended or whatnot. 45 not going to come to get you your job or get you off suspension. So you got to really be careful with, and part of the problem that I have with a lot of his followers is that it's borderline idolization. You know what I'm saying? Where they don't see no wrong in them. And they'll just do anything. They flying his flag. Some of them got his flag over the American flag, and am just like, listen, this guy doesn't know you, for one, and he not coming to save you if you get caught up doing something stupid. So it was a really bad decision. It was, and I would say that if it was a Biden mask too. But when you look at the climate in which we're in, we know how people feel about Trump, and we know for the most part a lot of cops support Trump, mostly because he supports cops. I'm of the belief that Trump is actually bad for cops, and I know I'm in the minority when I say that. And the reason I say that is because he just fans the flame. He puts grease on it.
He make y'all work harder.
He's literally making it more dangerous.
Yes.
He makes it more dangerous. It's one thing just come out and say you support cops. It's another thing to, you're not calming the people. You're not unifying the people. You're creating more division, and guess who's got to go out and deal with that? So I think he's bad for the profession. But back to the mask thing, horrible decision. I'm sure he's probably going to be suspended and whatnot. And it is aside from looking bad, it is a policy violation. So
I'm going to ask a question. I never really thought about this, because you brought it up. What has Trump, other than just his words, has there been any actions, legal actions, to really say that he support cops? Like, has he given them anything to get their support other than, just rhetoric?
To my knowledge, there hasn't been any raises because of him. There hasn't been any retirement benefits because of him. I think I did hear about a law. I'm not sure if it originated from him or not, so I don't want to quote it. But it was a law that basically ups the punishment for someone if they kill a cop or something like that, or you harm a cop. I heard about that, but I'm not sure that came from him. So aside from just being vocal about supporting cops, he has not really done anything tangible. And what people have to understand is that as shallow as it may seem, a lot of cops felt like they were very much so under attack under Obama, because it was almost the opposite, that they really didn't feel supported. Okay, that they felt like it was one-sided, they didn't feel supported. So you get a guy that comes in and he's like, hey, I want to do rallies with cops. I'm support. That's all they want. See us, support us, care about us. He ain't done nothing, but he likes us, we like him. And it was that polar opposite thing, that where we weren't supported, now we are supported, he's got our support. And that's really what it comes down to.
But the thing is, it's not really support. Like you said, people need to look at the cops, need to look at the bigger picture. Prime example, DeSantis is constantly saying he support teachers. Well, guess one of the first things he did, came in and gave teachers a raise. Okay, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. You got to go to work, or you got to do this. So do you really support me? Trump supports his purpose because he knows I'm going to raise the temperature so hot in this country. Guess who's going to be the ones that's going to have to get us out? The police. So why wouldn't he support? Like, that's just dumb. Like, they not looking at the big picture. So what? Obama didn't have a rally for you. Trump will have a rally for a dog. If a dog ready to blow his whistle, he have a rally for anybody. A rally is nothing. So if you're basing your career in the state that this man put your life in on a rally, then you are pretty I don't want to even say what I think about it.
And that's just the professional side of it. A lot of them their personal politics, they align with them, so they probably
right. Absolutely. That's the bigger concern.
They'll be a supporter whether it was a cop thing or not, but that just like that's just on top where listen, he supports what I do. We feel like we've been under attack all these years, and we finally got somebody that supports us. So they're loyal to him.
And you have to think of what is support. Like I said, what is support? Like Obama would never put them in this situation. And then when they in this situation, I ain't seen Trump to come out there and say nothing.
But see, this is the problem I have where America is right now. America has had 42 other presidents, right? Like, we forget about that. Like, we make everything Obama
we
and Trump.
Have 42.
We've had 43 more other than Obama and Trump. Like, if you just came to America, you would think America has only been around for like 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
Because everything is Obama, Trump, Obama, Trump, Obama, Trump, Obama, Trump. And I'm like, this thing is bigger. America is bigger than Obama and Trump. Like, you know, you talking about, well, I support firefighters, but I go around setting fires. Like, I can't, you know, if I give you a raise, but I'm making your job harder, is that really support? You know, we have to go back to, I think, you know, Brandon, and, you know, you don't have to answer this, but I think support in a lot of cases is lack of accountability. You know, anybody that comes in, and forget about cops, anything. Hey, I'm gonna like my boss. If they come, man, y'all listen. Y'all come in when you feel like it. Take your 2 hours lunch. You know, just get the work
Great
done.
example.
You know, oh, I love my boss. Anybody who has a lack, and that's why you got to be careful how people endorse and support. A lot of it is lack of accountability. You take a child, if that parent is not forceful, if they don't set a lot of rules, best mom in the world. A parent who has some rules and some foundational, the kid don't like them. So we have to understand where that support is coming from.
Yeah, and I think it's human nature to not like accountability. That's just human nature, right? And I think even more so when you talk about people that wear a uniform, whether they'll admit it or not, they don't really like accountability. Cops don't like accountability, and that's ironic because a cop's job is to hold people accountable, right? Under the law, you hold accountable. But cops really don't like accountability. Then whether they'll admit it or not, they really don't. So if
that means they feel like they are the law. That's probably why many of them feel like they are the law. So why should I hold myself accountable? I am the law. That's how some of them feel.
Some of them may have that like kind of God complex thing going on. But you know, if there's someone that, you know, a leader like Trump that's saying, you know, you guys are doing a great job, there's no need in changing anything, you guys are doing great, then yeah, they're gonna like that, you know, because they don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to, you know, we don't need reform, we don't need to change anything, we're good. Then they're gonna like that. They're gonna like it, and it does come down to accountability. That's why when there's leaders that want to hold them accountable, they're completely against it. Okay, even leaders, I'll say this, even leaders that will also wear the uniform, they hold them accountable, they don't like it.
Wow.
And that's in a lot of professions, not just policing.
Wow. Yeah. Well, guys, you know, we got the last one coming up tomorrow. Trump versus Biden, the big debate. This one's actually going to happen tomorrow. They got some new rules for this one. They're going to have a sound man. They hired a sound man for this one. And so whoever over talks, we're gonna mute your mics this time. Kimberly, what are you looking for in this debate? How do you think the candidates are going to behave? What do you think the goals should be from this debate?
Nothing. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Nothing. I'm probably gonna watch because it's gonna be on my TV. I'm not interested. I really don't care. There's nothing pretty much either candidate can say. I'm really against the debate even happening. I think the whole tobacco should have been scrapped from the get-go. How was Trump able to dictate that he didn't want to do the other one because he didn't like the rules of it? And now, okay, I'm ready a week or so closer to the election. You don't think he done some stuff that he's ready to open the can up on at this debate? You got to be kidding me. I'm just not interested in the clown show. I'm just ready for it really to all be over and hope that when it's over, the curtain has fallen on this guy and his shows can end, because he was the one. I'm not doing the last debate because it didn't go this way. And to me, they didn't do justice to Biden. If the rules say we're supposed to have this many debates and this was supposed to go on, my opinion, President or none, he shouldn't have got no coverage. All media should have went to Biden at his town hall or whatever he put on do, if he wanted to do a fashion show or a talent show at his company, whatever, it should have been all about Biden. I'm just sick of them letting this clown dictate. And the post sound man, ain't no telling what he gonna make a mockery of him to, but that's just gonna be a tobacco. The post sound man, and everybody's so excited about the sister girl, but again, he's ready to make a show because he already started talking about her. People ain't even know what's gonna be but who presented it's gonna be. He put everything in place for how he want everything to stroll, and that's the problem, and that's why I don't even want to give it the time of the day. It ain't even about Biden. It's just that I just don't want to give Trump the time or the energy.
Yeah, I'm probably more interested in the Thursday night football game tomorrow than I am the debate. I think we know what we got with both of these guys. There's really nothing else for us to hear.
Every week they endorse this lady.
There's nothing.
It's the truth.
There's nothing else for us to hear. There's nothing else for us to see. Okay. I think for the most part, people probably have already decided. There may be some that have not. But I don't really need to see anything else. I don't really need to hear anything else. I know what I need to know. I've seen what I need to see. I'm interested to see how this mute button is gonna work. I think it's gonna be funny. I'm not sure that 45 can control himself, being childish and being immature. I'm not sure.
And with the black lady, we got to talk about that too.
Yes,
we already started firing shots at her.
Yes, Christine Walker, at NBC, reporter, has a show, new show on the weekends. Mixed lady. She's black, mixed, married to a Caucasian, has a Caucasian husband. None of that matters, but we know how
after tomorrow.
We know how Trump feels about how he feels about women, and we know how he feels about sisters, African American women. So it's going to be interesting to see how Trump navigates himself with this moderator. It's going to be interesting to see how it does.
I mean, I think back to the decency thing. I think Biden can be decent. I think we've seen that. We know that he's at least a decent person. 45, we're not so sure about with the decency. So it is going to be interesting to see that.
At the end of the night, Trump ain't gonna have nothing to say about nothing. He not coming to answer no questions. He gonna make the show about the sound guy and this lady. I promise you that.
Probably
half of that's gonna be his topic.
Hunter Biden and how the Bidens are criminals is probably gonna keep him for that.
What's the over under on the mute button for Trump? Do we have 10, 15? Like what do we think?
Definitely.
if we were taking this to Vegas, what y'all think it's gonna be?
10, easily over 10. Easily over 10.
I guarantee you this is somewhere in Vegas. I guarantee you, for you non-Christians out there, I guarantee you somewhere you can lay some money down on this one. It's gonna be an over under on this one.
I'm certain it's over 10. Certain.
At some point, as we've all said, as we bring this show to a close, 45 mutes. Oh, 45 mutes. Good God. At some point, I want us to get back to a good, healthy America, And America, what makes America great, if it is great, is, you got, to borrow something from your president. We do have good people on both sides. We have good people on both sides of the aisle. There was a time where, we've all, and that's, I'm with you, Brandon. That's one of the things, and for those that are watching this, I'm imploring you to follow our Bible study in the next 2 weeks, because we're gonna deal with the 2-part series entitled God and Government. And one of the things the reason why I think we've taken God out of this is because of the Great Divide. I think that if you take the letters, you take the icons, move them aside, I think a lot of people will be supporting, a lot of Democrats will probably support Republicans, a lot of Republicans support Democrats. I think that these two titles has been the great divide of this country.
Yep.
A lot of countries don't have these political parties. It has been the great divide. I saw something today. I saw a picture of something today that gave me hope. It was a, you know, two guys holding a flag, shaking hands with each other. You know, it's interesting that after a boxing match, you know, the guys get to the center of the ring, at least hug it out, you know, if the guy's not knocked out. You know,
Right.
at some point, we got to get America back to just understanding each other and loving each other, because it's trickled down to our communities. We see it in our communities that we're just fighting each other now. You see, you know, we see these Trump flags and we see these other things, and it's just sad to say this is American. It makes us hate when this time of year comes around, because it's the most every 4 years we're the most divisive that we can ever be, and it's getting more vicious with this guy in office. And so I'm just looking for a time to where we could just be Americans.
Yeah.
You know,
I absolutely agree with that. And you know, as someone who has friends that are Republican and even some who are Trump supporters, I asked someone today, I'm like, you know, do you think that some people that are not my friends anymore, they're gonna be my friend again after the election? I don't know, because I know some people probably look at me a little sideways these days because of political. But I'm like, listen, I'm open to dialogue. I don't hate you because we see things differently. And I was reading my devotional the other day, and it, you know, scripture about it, and that love covers a multitude of sins. You know, when I started to kind of think on that, I was really dwelling on that for that day. Like, you know, love also covers a multitude of differences as well. So we need to get back to loving each other, whether we agree or not. Actually, just a few days ago, I was sitting down having a cigar with a good friend of mine who is a Trump supporter, and he laid out to me like very detailed why he's supporting Trump. And although I don't necessarily agree with who he's voting for, we met a happy medium. We both understood each other. We both were able to talk it out. It wasn't a debate. It wasn't an argument. We were just talking. I understood some of the stuff he was saying. He understood some of the stuff I was saying. And that's what we need to get back to. Because at the end of the day, these politicians don't know us. These politicians don't care about us individually. And we should not ruin relationships over politicians that we'll never see, never meet, never have any bearing on our life. The people that are close to you matter more. So, you know, and my friends that are watching out there that have been mad at me because I'm been vocal about it, you know, I still love you. I still love you, and we can talk about it. But you know, and that's what it has to be.
I want to show you guys this last clip, because to take this further, I saw this and I was very encouraged by it. It's about two neighbors, and we'll talk about it for our closing segment.
And there is tension not only on the national stage, but within our very own communities. KV's Darren Shaharan spoke with two Cedar Park neighbors on opposing sides of politics, trying to change the narrative.
It's all about loving my neighbor.
A message that has gotten lost during this year's presidential campaign.
Will you shut up, man? Listen, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me, this
Hey, let me
person.
just say, there's nothing smart about you, Joe.
The bickering on the national stage seeping down into the communities who support them.
On our neighborhood page, I'd seen a lot of issues with people stealing signs, throwing paint on signs,
Punching holes through them.
a lot of bashing back and forth.
I live right here.
Marnie Linton and Tasha Hancock have been neighbors and friends for 6 years.
She will come over and mow my yard.
Oh yeah, I mowed her yard the other
over,
day.
And I will mow her yard. She brings us goodies.
Linton, a Republican, and Hancock, a Democrat, wanted to change the narrative.
I may think one way about one subject, and that's why I vote a certain way, but that doesn't run my whole life. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person or my kids are not.
Oh boy, it look like even the internet don't want us to like each other or love each other. But the goal is two neighbors live next to each other. That story, I think, originated in Texas, and they're gonna go to the polls together. They're gonna vote for two different people, but they're going together. As you said, Brandon, they're neighbors. They love each other, and they're not going to allow just this particular issue to divide them. And I just think that's where we have to be. And I think that we have to encourage that amongst ourselves and our congregations and our relationships, on our jobs. We should be able to get to a point to where we can be vocal about who we support without it being a vicious attack. Because we can do it in all other arenas. You like one team, I like another team. They go to the same games, and they boo each other. But at the end of the game, hey, that was a tough game. We won that. You never see that in politics. You never see political rallies where Democrats and Republicans are coming together. It's always the great divide. And so I don't see the God in that. I'm kind of jumping ahead in my Bible study, but I just don't see the God in this stuff that we fuss about so much. And so I'm looking forward to a time where we can just get on with our everyday life.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason is that we don't see it from the politicians that are leading the way. We don't see them really getting along. We don't see them not letting the politics get in the way of relationship. They're bickering, they're arguing, and it's constant. It's like around the clock. With social media, they're just always going after each other. So the followers are just repeating what they're saying. But we got to be bigger than that. Politics, in the grand scheme of things, is really it's a small part of our livelihood. It's a small part of our well-being. It should not consume us to where simply difference in politics, dictates whether you hate or love somebody. We cannot allow it to run us like that, because there's more to life than politics.
You're muted, Kim.
I don't expect, just saying, Biden and Trump to get along. I honestly don't expect Biden and Trump to get along, because Trump it's just, what I'm saying? Some people just whatever. But prior to Trump coming into office, the Republicans did act as if they wanted some kind of relationship with some Democrats. You can see it in Joe Biden. He has a lot of Republican, and a lot of them, you see how a lot of them cross over to his side. Trump made that easy. That wasn't a difficult thing. And even before Trump making that easy, I feel that if Trump wasn't who he is and how he is, other Republicans, even though they wouldn't have had a big convention together, would not show as much hate to the Democratic candidate as it's been going on now. And again, I just think we as a country has allowed this man, like Joe Biden say, just to turn the temperature up on the entire country and how the entire country perceives stuff. And that's really not the case of everybody, but he just has it so that it's so hot right now that that's the view that people are having. But Joe Biden does get a lot of support from, and I feel that if he's president, a lot of that, the Republican divisiveness, it'll probably kind of begin to come around. Because some of them, Trump have made them so married to the party, they forgot who they selves are. Just like Ted Cruz and some of the other ones that ran against him. Look at the people who ran against Biden. They jumped right in on his ticket. None of these people, if Trump wasn't already the president, none of them wouldn't jump on his ticket at all. I just don't see it.
I mean, we saw it with Obama and McCain. We saw that they fought, but at the end of the day, they were still friends, to the point where who gave the eulogy at McCain's funeral? President Obama, his rival. Because that's the way it's supposed to be. That's what life is. You could be on the sides of the aisle, but at some point we got to come together and be our brothers and sisters keeper. And I think that's what we are missing in this election cycle. And I don't see God in it. And so prayerfully we'll get back to it. Well, we wanted to end on a light note tonight. Brandon, for all you Fin fans, it's tour time in Miami. The fifth #1 pick in the draft is now going to make his debut. Dolphins are doing pretty good. And it's time to make a change. Some are saying Why now? We winning good. You know, it's a hot subject in Miami now. You know, why now? What Brandon, what do you know, this is your guy. How do you feel about Tua coming in now and Ryan Fitzpatrick being shown the bench?
Yeah, that's my team. I was skeptical to begin with. I actually, if you go back and trace it, I actually wanted Herbert over Tua just because I don't know about Tua's his health with the injuries. But he's a Dolphin now, so you know he's got to be my guy. I was really confused by this move. I was really confused by this move. One, because the team is doing well. We're in second place in the AFC East. We're competing for the AFC East. We're doing well. We're playing well. So usually you make a change when the team is not doing good. So I was really confused by this. Fitz is kind of hitting a stride, you know, playing really well. Tough guy, fun to watch. So my only thing is that maybe this was the plan all along to make the switch at the bye week. But I really don't see a need. I still don't see a need to do it. But if that was a plan, that was a plan. The thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is what I saw today with Fitz's reaction to it. It appears though that he was blindsided by this. And I know Coach Flores was a little bit upset with the media because it got out before he was able to address the team about it. I don't know if he was planning on talking to Fitz, but I feel like if this was the plan all along, you kind of probably should have had a talk with Fitz before all of this and said, look, just so you know, at the bye week, we think we're going to make this switch no matter what, right? I guess anything short of being undefeated, we're going to make this switch. So I'm still skeptical about it. You know, Coach Flores has done a great job since he's been the coach, so I'm trusting him on this, but I am skeptical about it. I'm not sure that this was the right move, especially that the guy's first game is going to be against Aaron Donald. My goodness, what a first opponent to have to go up against when you already got injury problems. So I'm not sure. I actually want to see him get hit real good just to make sure he's going to get up and he's going to be durable, get that welcome to the NFL. But I am skeptical about it. I'm just waiting and seeing. I am skeptical about this move because I'm not like, we're winning. So are we trying to win or are we trying to plan for the future? Like, is it now or is it, you know, are we planning for the future? So I'm not sure. But I'm gonna trust Coach Flores on this one, and you know, but I am skeptical.
Well, is it Ryan Fitzpatrick? Yeah, that's his name. He wasn't shocked. He didn't get the news with the team. Now he actually got the news before the team because he talked about he felt uncomfortable because he didn't see it coming. He sat in a 2-hour meeting where they explained what was gonna happen, and then he said he had to sit in a 4-hour meeting trying to encourage and coach up his competition. Now many say he was more shocked because he's 38 and he never gonna see another start to an NFL game. So that might be what he more really disappointed in, but he don't recognize at 38 he had Fable to be a starter this far. So, you know, hey, but
I mean,
I'm interested to see what he's gonna do.
I'm about to say you know you saw a lot of Alabama football rooting for Georgia at the time, and so you know your nephew got one of the very few picks that he threw in college. How do you feel he's gonna do in the NFL, even though he's got some injuries?
I don't really know. I mean, I don't foresee him being as great as some of these other rookies. Now, if he shocked me, he shocked me. I too was a Herbert person. I felt like Herbert should have been picked ahead of him, and I felt like the Dolphins missed their opportunity with Herbert. I think the Dolphins could have just went another route for another quarterback too. But I'm not here to say he gonna do bad or he gonna do good. I'm just gonna wait and see. But I'm not expecting him to be as good as some of the other candidates. Even though, especially the ones that's going now. Joe Burrows is my man, I must say. And then I like Herbert as well. Tua I wasn't exactly a Tua fan, so.
Yeah,
so she spent a lot of time rooting against him, so that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Everybody speaks highly of him. I mean, we know he's a great kid. Like there is, like you can't find a flaw in him personally. Everyone loves him. And talent-wise, everybody speaks highly of him. They talk about how he makes great decisions with the ball, how accurate he is, and we saw his accuracy. Now he's a very accurate quarterback, and he can throw the football. But it's just a matter of is he gonna do well in this league. So we just
And in
gotta.
my opinion, coming out of college,
I hope he's gonna be great. I hope he's gonna be great. Like it's time for us. It's time to make the Dolphins great again, man.
I mean, and in my opinion, coming out of college, I think his brother is better than him. That's just my opinion, even though he ain't get to put up for Alabama. Yeah. I think his brother is probably the more athletic quarterback out of the two of them. But
I will say he does have the highest completion percentage in the National Football League right now.
2 for 2, 100%.
2 for 2, y'all. So he at the top of the stats on that.
It's still the Dolphins. It's still the Dolphins. In the checks. So he got it from.
Only third down conversion of the game, y'all. I think that's what did it. I think that's
how they say back. It's still the Dolphins in the checks. That's what he got it against.
I hope he does well. I really do.
I hope for the sake of Miami Dolphin football that it's not a setback. But if it's anything like Miami football in the past, Tua is gonna get hurt the first play, and Donald's gonna come in and hit him hard, and it's gonna set Miami back 20 years. So I hope for all of my diehard Dolphin fans out there that this is a sign. This is a sign of great things to come for the Dolphins. I don't root against the Dolphins. It's not my team, but I don't root against them. They're like my second or third team, probably my second team. I want them to win. You know, everybody know I'm a diehard Saints fan, but you know, hey, I root for the home team. And so, you know, hey, we're gonna see what happens. It's gonna be an interesting 2 weeks. You know, they have a bye this week, so maybe a couple of shows from now we'll be able to talk about, you know, tour time in Miami. It's gonna be interesting to see how that all hangs out. Hey guys, we want you to vote. You haven't voted already, make sure you do so. I'm an election day voter, so I'll talk more about that experience in the next couple of weeks. But listen, don't hesitate. Make sure you go out and vote your choice. If it's Republican, you know, hey, you got a right to be wrong. No, I'm just kidding. No, vote your conscience, vote your choice. But listen, for all you that are watching us out there, listen, if you don't follow us on our church services, I want to extend this invitation to you, because in the next 2 Tuesdays, this Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Election Day at 6 p.m., we're going to be doing a special series entitled God and Government. Where does God fit in with all the things that we're doing right now? I promise you it's going to be informative. It's not an anti-voting. It's not who to vote for type of thing. We're just going to focus on how God sees us in everything that we're doing as Christians. I believe it's going to be very insightful. It's going to be very impactful. It's going to really shake up your equilibrium, and that's what, you know, we're going to do. God has laid it upon my heart to do this, and so I'm excited about doing it. So set your calendars. This Tuesday, 7 p.m. right on the platform you're watching us right now. And then on Election Day, again, November the 3rd at 6 o'clock, a special edition of our BBS service. I'm looking forward to you. We're going to look forward to our next week's show. Let's pray for our co-host. Has some things that's going on, so we're going to lift her up in prayer, keep her uplifted as well. But again, vote your choice. Hey, whatever you do, just exercise your right to vote. Also want to invite you guys. Yeah, read the amendments. Maybe next week we'll talk. We'll talk a little more about that. I know we didn't talk about it this show. We'll talk a little bit about that because we wanted to discuss those amendments for people that may not understand the amendments. We're going to break them down for you so you can understand and know what you're voting for, just in case you haven't voted. We want you to be well informed about your vote as well. But tomorrow night, I have a special show entitled Pastoring During a Pandemic. I have some awesome pastors lined up, and we're going to be serious about what it's been like pastoring during this season. And so, great men of God, Elder Keelan Duke, Pastor Alfonso Jackson Jr., Joy Foster, Dr. Clark Lazar, and Pastor Keith Moore is going to be with me right on this platform tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Looking forward to a great discussion of what it's been like pastoring during this pandemic. We love you guys. We will see you next time. Be blessed. We are out of here. Peace out. Bye-bye.